All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Tuesday's edition of PreMarketInfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, we did not get that follow through on the downside that perhaps we were looking for. In fact, the market closed only the SPOOS, this is, closed only a few ticks from where it opened at 9:30.
Yeah, Joel. Actually, it's been a really, you talked about that 1380 number there yesterday. We've actually, the high in the after hours, we touched 1380.75. Pulled back a bit from there. We're trading 1376 right now, but real quiet, muted action here.
Yeah, let's just briefly go over the overnight action. 80.75 was just shy of Monday's intraday high at 82.75. Really nothing tangible between 375 and 380. The only thing I want our listeners to be alert trading this morning, the Globex low from yesterday, 1371.75, and the intraday low was just above that. So we will not get a breakdown in the market until we take out this 371.75. And looking for a few more closes under 1380. Briefly covering some of the Big Ten here, Dennis. ExxonMobil had the old Thursday low, Monday high trick at 84.35, 84.36. Major resistance there. I wouldn't look for a rally in ExxonMobil until it can get back and hold that level.
Yeah, ExxonMobil, Joel, did break through that key 84 just by 30 cents yesterday. Well, it opened below there, so if it can break and start breaking down below yesterday's low, which is at that 83.68 level, then it starts to really open up to the downside. So it looks like rally should be sold on this one.
Okay, Chevron Corporation gap down. We were looking for that 105 to be support. It turns out to be resistance. Yesterday's high, not even close to that. So if you get back up to that 105 area, look for major resistance there. That's a similar level to the 84.35 level on ExxonMobil.
Kind of in the middle of the range here. We got that 105 resistance, which you just pointed out, and then there's this low from late January at 102, and we're about $1.50 away from there right now, but I think that might be where it's thinking about going.
Okay, the analyst that downgraded Apple has cleared out his desk. Is looking for a new. He's looking for a new job. I predict Apple will go to 640 today.
Way to throw you. 640.
I'm starting it with a buy, and 640 is my target. It's probably already traded there in the pre-market. That stock never even touched yesterday's low. Turned around and rallied. The only significant number I can give you is 640. 640.30 we traded up to in the pre-market. In fact, 640.48's been the high in the pre-market. I have numbers covered all the way up to 652.50. Don't even think about selling this stock short unless it cracks 633.68.
How do you short this thing, Joel? It just keeps marching up every day. I mean, it's downgraded yesterday. The market's down 10 or 12 points for the majority of the day, and it goes up on the day. I mean, the relative strength in this stock is just incredible. The stock's been marching for 3 months straight. We've tried to, say, where you could maybe try different shorts. None of them work. I just don't know where you can possibly short this thing. Eventually, like we said, it's going to have that breakdown day where it falls 50 points in one day on no news, and everybody's going to be like, what happened? But who knows when that day comes? It could be at 700. It could be at 800. I don't know, but it's marching, Joel.
Maybe look to see when earnings come out. Maybe they'll take a little swing and a miss there. Moving on to the rest of the Big Ten, just a quick level. Microsoft did take out the double bottom at 31.05, just holding on to the 31 level. Good support. You have to play it for the long side until 31's taken out.
Yeah, that Microsoft 31 level is pretty key. 30.97 being the low there yesterday, so keep an eye on that number.
GE, the $20 being over that was just a dream, a long way ago. Now we're back down in the 19s, probably working our way back down to 19 even. HFT guys put a stop to it yesterday at 1907. But continued weakness in this stock looks like it's going to take out the $19 level.
19's big on it, Joel. We talked about this, how it had run up so quickly from 19 to 20, and now basically in the same amount of time, 3 days, it came down from 20 almost down to 19 there yesterday. But that's where it looks like it wants to go. Didn't quite get there yesterday. Wouldn't surprise me if it gets there in the next couple of days, though.
Okay. All right, we talk about, double bottoms, triple bottoms, quadruple bottoms, whatever bottoms. You look at Procter & Gamble here, just sitting above the 66.71 level. Boy, Dennis, do you think it's finally just going to crack that today and head south?
Hard to say, Joel. Like we were saying, the defensive stocks sometimes hold up a little bit better, and it was a risk-off day yesterday. Procter & Gamble was down, but it wasn't really down that much. It was down, I think, 30 or 40 cents on the day. It was actually trading lower in the pre-market than it opened. But that's a key level. If it does break down from that, it could move down in a hurry, and then you look at that low that we made there in early March at 66.20.
Okay, finally, Pfizer, similar, leaning on the $22 level. Yesterday's low, 22.01, major support at the 10-day low at 21.95.
I can preach this 22 level to you because I see size there too, so there's no doubt that some high-frequency guys will be leaning on the size at 22, so I'd expect that to be your initial support from this 22 all the way to the settlement at 22.05. Wouldn't surprise me if the stock could actually get a lift. I think it had an upgrade there after the close yesterday if I'd seen the tape go by right, but it wasn't a major firm and it doesn't have any real action trading, so maybe I don't know if that was a misread on the tape on my part, but keep that in mind. $22 is a big number on this though, Joel.
Okay, it looks like investors are finding value in super value.
Joel, super value here. SVU has had a great morning. Reported earnings just after 8 o'clock. Bouncing up from its 52-week low that it set there yesterday. Is bouncing up and traded as high as $6. $6 is big. Got up there twice in the pre-market. 6 has put a lid on it. Technically speaking, you would think that would happen too. We had that low in March. Another low in later March, and then I tried it again about a week ago. Gets right up to that $6 area in the pre-market, Joel, and so I failed there again. It's trading $5.90, just under there right now. So keep an eye on that $6 on the stock.
Yeah, 603 and 604 were touched briefly in the pre-market. Decent volume associated with those levels.
A lot of volume.
Yeah, and so I'm sure the big boys will be stepping in there. That's a big move for this stock. If in fact it can clear that $6 hurdle, it's going to run into more trouble at 6.25. Just looking at the way it's trading in the pre-market, needs to hold this 580 level. If in fact they can't hold 580, it could certainly come down and test the gap area at 540.
I mean, the stock has just been a terrible stock for the last, if you go back on the chart a little bit farther, if we go back, at the beginning of the year this was $11, but if you go back a few years, this used to be a $45 stock. I think I got to go back. I'm just trying to find the chart here on that.
07.
This is a $45 stock, so it's $5. I mean, the chart like this makes you think the stock, is going under. But the earnings that they just reported were really good. They blew the number away. Their guidance was up, I think, in the $1.27 range or something. I mean, that puts a PE on this thing of 3 or 4, which is ridiculously low. But I mean, if those earnings are falling over time, low PEs don't always necessarily mean value. But no pun intended with the super value. But definitely having a good day today. I think investors are really surprised that the numbers were as good as they were. So if this thing can take off about $6, who knows? But it's a big move for the stock already. Kroger's getting a sympathy move there, Joel. You might see some of these other grocers, just because the numbers were so good, have a sympathy move with it. KR is trading up at $23.70 right now after closing $23.50. Low beta stock. It's a pretty good move for this one. And Safeway too. You never know. It hasn't had any real trades. Well, no, actually, it is trading up there now in the pre-market too. It's trading $20 too. So these grocery stores are going to get a rally here today, Joel.
Yeah, Kroger has a real interesting number to keep an eye on, folks. $23.85. That was a double top from the end of last week. Still has not approached that in the pre-market. If in fact Kroger can get above that $23.85 level, actually it did touch it briefly in the pre-market. Breaks above $23.85, Dennis. It looks like there's air up to this $24.50 level, which would be a pretty unreasonable move for this stock. Safeway, looking at the chart on that, they all look the same, but kissing the $20 level, you're going to find major resistance between 2011 and 2021. A couple lows from the end of last week too. I guess just the Costco's and the WalMarts and all those other Sam's Clubs, whatever, is just taking a toll on these stocks, and perhaps they've not figured out a new business model.
Yeah, well, they're getting a lift here this morning, so it's going to be a better day. And sometimes, I've seen this before where you'll see the grocery stores themselves report some good numbers, and sometimes you'll see some of the food stocks too. Obviously, those are the products being sold in these grocery stores. So I wouldn't be shocked if you seen a stock like Heinz or Kraft even, which is HNZ and KFT. I wouldn't be surprised if they got a little lift off of these numbers too. Actually, Kraft in the pre-market is trading up 20 cents, so it is getting a little bit of a lift too. So keep an eye on Kraft, Heinz, Campbell's Soup, CB, PB is another one. Wouldn't surprise me if those stocks were a little bit relatively strong off of these SVU numbers.
Yeah, looking at the Kraft here, Dennis, you've had 5 consecutive lower highs. That looks like that string will be broken today if it can get above 37.86 here. Looking at the support here, Dennis, major support here at 37.52, which was the low back on February 27th, and you touched 37.56 yesterday. So if you could get these stocks on the cheap here, could be looking for a rally in the Kraft.
Might as well just stay on the whole food stock theme and talk Pepsi and Coke too. I don't know how much move that those stocks could get off, but they do sell products in those stores as well. So we might as well talk about your two biggest beverage producers, Pepsi and Coke. What do you think of Pepsi, Joel?
I've not taken a look at that stock in a while. It's had that major run, double topped up here at the 66.75 to 82 level. It's come down to support. Sold off pretty hard, Dennis, along with the market. I'd try a buy here at low risk area right here around 65 and a quarter, which was yesterday's low. Below that, you'll find support at the $65 level. But not getting much of a bounce in the pre-market.
That $65 level has some size there too, so those high-frequency guys will be leaning on that size. Wouldn't surprise me if this thing, if it did sell off, if it bottomed out in the 65.05 to 65.10 area, those high-frequency guys lean on that size there at 65. Coca-Cola's actually been trading up a little bit here in the pre-market. Well, actually not now. It's turned and it's trading down. So I'm not sure why Coke's trading down here. Actually, some size forming in the book too. I don't know if that's real or not. But 72.84, it's offered down right now. So trading 72.70. So interesting that Coke is trading down despite some of these food stocks being stronger, Joel.
Yeah, just to highlight this activity in the Coca-Cola, we actually did a little bit of blogging on this stock back at the end of March when it just was cutting through just some monumental size, institutional size, 73.50, 73.90, 74 even. Big orders were taken out by the high-frequency traders because of some buy imbalances. And we've written about this, we've talked about this. A lot of times when the size is absorbed like that in over a course of 2 or 3 days, the market has a really hard time sustaining those levels just because once there's a big seller in there, people buy it. It just, unless there's good fundamental news or something to carry it through. So you've gotten that sell-off in Coca-Cola, people choking on some of those institutional orders. Really hasn't found a bottom yet, Dennis. 72, 74. Looks like it's already being tested today, and I don't think you can seriously look at this stock trying to bounce until it gets down to the $72 level.
Well, AIG, Joel, this is one we don't talk about a lot on the show, but this thing has quietly had a heck of a couple of weeks. This thing was at 28 bucks there just 2 weeks ago. Has been straight up here, Joel, and actually topped out at 33.44 there on Thursday. Pulled back, obviously, with the broad market overall yesterday, but Wells Fargo is using that pullback and obviously accumulating some stock there because they put an upgrade on it there, Joel. So this morning, so AIG is getting a lift in the pre-market, trading 32.70. Looking at the book, I see some size at 33. I think that'll be the first hurdle. If it can get above there, then maybe it tests that 33.44 high, Joel.
Yeah, wow, 3270 is a rock in the pre-market here, Dennis, since that news has come out. Looking at the dailies there, that's just above yesterday's high. So if we don't hold 3259 early in trading, looks like this upgrade is not going to mean anything. 33, I probably see, like you said, you see some size there. 3344 has been the high of the move, so I think it's going to be tough sledding into 33s for AIG.
Harley Davidson, which is symbol HOG, HOG, getting upgraded at Citigroup. And here is a stock that has been breaking down the last 3 days, breaking down significantly. If we look at this chart, this 50 is looking like the Great Wall of China up there. Now you almost have a head and shoulders thing happening too if you looked at the March chart there. But we tried to get through the 50. We cut through it there, kind of made your head there when we cut through and made those two highs at 50.70 and up there at 50.96. Retried and broke through, then retried to get through the neckline at 50. Failed, breaking down hard, Joel. Gets to the 48, broke down again there yesterday. I'd expect that 48 to give you some resistance possibly here today into this upgrade, Joel.
I tell you, that's a bold call for an upgrade here.
I'm saying this one looks like a sell into the upgrade, maybe, but we don't get buy or sell recommendations. But just my own personal opinion, I don't think I'd want to really own it here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they're just trying to help out, one of their institutional clients and getting an upgrade against.
Do that, Joel.
I don't know. I just, you know what I think happened, Dennis, is I think that the guy that got fired for the Apple downgrade is now at this firm, and he issued the Hawk upgrade. Yeah, that's the only plausible explanation I have for that upgrade.
Yeah, that chart just I'm not buying today, I'll tell you that much. I'm not buying today. So one to keep an eye on today, Alcoa reports after the bell tonight. Obviously, it's going to have some significant volatility after it reports earnings. It is trading up in the pre-market. It's up 8 cents here in the pre-market at 9.68. We had this double bottomed arguably in place here, Joel. If we look in early March, we had two lows at 9.46 and 9.45, and yesterday we bottomed at 9.46 right on the nose. So if you're saying, if you're technical bullish on this, you could say that double bottom's in place, and we get a decent number, maybe it could be off to the races. Now, if it cuts through that 9.45, I don't think I'd want to be long, though.
Yeah, you had mentioned, I remember when we were back there, you mentioned there was some huge institutional orders at that level. I'm not sure if they're still there now or if they got filled and they sold them up here at 10.50. But this stock is basically, since the entire year, has been in a 9.50 or 9.38 was the low on January 10th. 9.50 to 10.50 range. Can't get really too excited about it going, either way until you can get 3 or 4 closes below those levels. So technically, yeah, you are looking at a low risk buy here in Alcoa.
Yeah, low risk until after 4 o'clock when it has earnings, because then risk increases exponentially because the stocks can move off earnings. Earnings definitely, fundamentals take hold over the technicals, and you got an earnings report happening.
Yeah, I heard one of the analysts on CNBC saying that she wasn't going to do anything, but she was going to wait and see where they said their orders increased, and if their orders increased in one, in the copper area or this one specific area, then she was going to buy stocks in that sector. And I was thinking, what is she talking about?
I don't know if a lot of the analysts, some of them know what they're talking about, but obviously a lot of them don't too. So it's interesting. Overall, you just trade the numbers. That's the whole thing. Like, we're not fundamental analysts here at Pre-Market Info. We kind of just look at the numbers. We try to point out lower risk entry points, and in this 9.45 from an intraday perspective is definitely a lower risk entry point. But whenever you have earnings after the bell, taking in stock into earnings, that's always a significant risk there, and obviously we don't suggest to do that if you're just doing it for a trade. That's all I've really got for you here today, Joel. What's your overall comments here on the market?
I mean, we're holding above support, Dennis. We're holding above yesterday's intraday low as well as the Globex low. So all the buy the dippers are looking golden here until we can slice through yesterday's low at 1371.75. What's interesting, Dennis, is when the unemployment data was released Friday while the markets were closed, we basically came down to this 1375 area. We zigged and zagged a little bit yesterday, and we're still still a point and a half at that same level. So market's still trying to digest it, and hopefully we'll get a resolution over the next day or so. That's our show for today, folks, and we'll be back at 10:30 with our update.